Welcome to the past, where you'll get information related to sports, video games, technology, music, and our all-time favorite ass of the week. Episode 193 of the past is here. What is good? What's going on, everyone? I'm your host, BT. Hope everyone's doing well on this calm, chill, productive Saturday. I'm trying to come up with as many adjectives as possible. I will admit or give you all an early heads up, and we'll talk about it in a bit. The World Cup is going on, so I'm kind of bonus coveraging that if that's the way to put it. But I'm kind of watching that while giving you all the content. So if it's kind of a cheer or ooh or ah, just let it be what it is. But I do have it just kind of planned. So we'll let that be what it is. And I'm kind of getting updates of scores as they're playing out. So we're not going to really chip or go into an extreme amount of time. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the show. And since this is episode 193, I do want to go ahead and give the angel number for 193. I know that the past couple of weeks the shows have kind of gotten condensed as far as the week goes, but I will admit that I didn't want to push this one too far back based on all that has occurred going on in the media and in the spotlight or in the limelight in a sense. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to really aggressively throw any wild cards. I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it. There could be a few explanations as to why you keep seeing the number 193. Probably you live along street address 193 and you will see the signposts every day on your way to work and on your way home. Maybe you live near people who are obsessed with the number 193. Or the most probable thing is that your birth angels are behind your recent interaction with this angel number. They are trying to get your attention focused on certain truths that they would like you to learn. Pay close attention to what they are saying. With angel number 193, you're being directed to trust your instincts. Do always call upon to your angels whenever you need encouragement or reassurance. The angel number 193 meaning is made up of the numbers 1, 9, and 3. Number 1 represents your progress up the ladder of your career, love life, family, business, and any other important aspects in your life. Your courage, fearless nature, go-getting attitude, and resolve are personality traits that your angels have noticed in you and applaud you for. The number also represents the changes in your life that are about to take place and most likely change the course of your path. Allow these changes to transform you into what your destiny demands of you. Number 9 is the number that is concerned with your service to your fellow human beings while on earth. It touches on your empathy for the suffering, your selflessness, and the ability to put others first. Your humanitarian spirit and your readiness to go out of your way to assist others are qualities applauded by your guardian angels. Number 3 is the number that denotes your ability to communicate. It also stands for the principle of growth and suggests that you have to be ready to experience growth in all spheres in your life. Number 3 is the number of the sacred Trinity. It is a reassurance that your journey is approved and the supernatural powers are out to assist you to accomplish it. With angel number 193, your guides need to know that you are willing to let go of the conditions that do not serve you in a positive way. You have to be strong enough to fight off negative influences. Very important to really look at today. And this is just something to kind of give you some inspiration in general, and just knowing that you're going to have times where you need to step up and show out. I've talked about this in general and kind of looked at it as a personal platform, and it kind of ties into that word. We sometimes hear and know about the term platform, but we don't let others know what our platform is. We kind of play this assumption of thinking that, folks are just going to know what we're doing, and that's just kind of the name of the game. but in reality, they don't. Giving back and helping others is something that's very key to being a better person. And I am one to attest to that. I'm very well known for doing my best to keep things on the up and up with people. I'm not going to really put too much emphasis into a statement that was that I had to address, but I will share that people do need help. And we need to not try to help them when it's too late. It's better to help them while we have the opportunity. And that's something that I personally feel is taken for granted. And that's just kind of where this all stands and how it all coincides with the angel number. So if you are on the show notes or reading the show notes, click on the link. It definitely gives this angel number meaning, and it may be something to kind of give you some inspiration, not just for the day, but through the week. As I always give and I always like to share, if you are in a crisis, please contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE or 799-7233. I'm going to take this a step further because I truly don't think people understand the seriousness of this. Don't just give people a phone number or don't just call out trying to reach someone for a crisis. Try to call that person or try to contact them. I made a huge step today as far as reaching out to someone who I've known for a while and just telling them like, hey, don't try to get through this by yourself, because a lot of times by nature, we're strong and we want to be as strong as we can to get through whatever we can in life. And that's all great and that's all wonderful. But the reality of it is that we're human, and there are days that we're going to kind of go through our fights and our personal battles. I've even had it occur where someone I know lost someone close to them, and it was a heart-jerking moment for me because I've pretty much known them literally for at least 10 years, if not longer. So when I got news of the occurrence, it kind of caught me off guard a little bit. But I know everyone has different outlets. I always say this and I always come back to this. You have to come up with what your outlet is or your way of getting through things. And that's just how I look at it. And you may not have one. You may not know what it is. You may not be open to utilizing an outlet. So just keep that in mind as well. So that's what I have for you all with as far as, and that's, like I said, that's the hotline for domestic violence. But just in general, if you need help, please get help. Don't try to be cool and make it like everything's fine and it's not, because you'll fool yourself into believing such. I'm going to do this as a double promotion because I am really proud of her and her success and her growth. Vernetta Winston is doing a Taste of Heaven RVA. You can check her out at 10101 Brook Road, and that's in Glen Allen, Virginia, 23059. That's in Virginia Center Commons. I'm also sharing to check out her blog, VernettaSpeaks.com. She's been putting time and grind into the blog, and she's had other things that's kind of hit for her personally that's helped her to kind of overcome obstacles and just getting life achieved. So I'm giving credit where it's due. I know I don't have a lot that I go through, and I'm going to be the first to admit a lot of people, will see it and just be like, well, you got this going on, you got that going on. Not really. It's not the worst place to be. It's not the end of the world. So I just kind of have learned to take what's coming and just kind of deal. And I'm just sharing that just to share with this as far as definitely check out her blog. It's a mixture of an entertainment blog, but it's also a personal blog, which I am glad that she got going. So I'll be sure to put those links in the show notes as well. Also, if you are looking to get a home or get any cleaning, residential, commercial cleaning completed, Peachy Clean RVA is the place to go. It is PEACHIE. It is ran by Sherry Winston, who is a cleaning specialist. Her number is 804-726-0366. And her Gmail is her email is peachycleanrva@gmail.com. I love the fact that I'm sitting here wearing this scarf, and I'm kind of upset a little bit because soccer isn't even like the first topic on the agenda, but hey, things happen. But I want to talk to y'all before we get into the, like I said, the World Cup is in progress now. I wanted to go ahead and, I guess, put everybody in loop of what's going on, so as many of you are or aren't aware, basketball season is done for right now. The big story is the LeBron sweepstakes, and there's another sweepstakes that I'll get into in a moment. But there are, and I don't have the other story, but I guess I'll kind of paraphrase it as simple as I can. There is the Big Three League that is going on right now that is getting its fair share of attention. I would call it like the option for guys who went pro, may not be in the league anymore, probably are not able to, they're at their pinnacle, or they're at their peak where it's like, hey, I played all my time, I'm good. So they're playing in that league. If you did not keep up a track the Big Three last year, check it out this year. They are playing games on Fox, so you can definitely check out on Fox Sports if I'm not mistaken. And they usually show the replays for it on YouTube. So that's usually how I get the highlights and the updates for it. But we'll be keeping track of that series or that league. But what I'm going to talk about now, which is active or is getting ready to finally be a thing, is the JBA, which is the Junior Basketball Association. So I'm gonna give as much information as I can, but I'm also going to talk to y'all and just have a little bit of fun with this, because whether people want to realize it or acknowledge it or not, I'm probably going to be the bad guy for saying this. I'm not sure if I can take this league serious yet. As far as the format of it goes, there are 8 teams in the league. I want to make sure I mention each team before I go too far ahead of myself. They are Chicago, New York, Atlanta, Los Angeles, Dallas, Seattle, Houston, and Philadelphia. This kind of all triggered or was generated as an idea from last year when LeVar Ball felt that players who are looking to go pro need an alternative or an option to play. And there's really not much of an alternative other than play overseas. And so this league is kind of like a in between, not really the largest of incomes or finances involved with it, but it's a chance to kind of play amateur basketball, preparing for, if not going to the league. So first thing I'll say, all the teams that I mentioned, I just gave the city names. There are no mascots. Each team, all of their last names are the same. They are known as the Ballers. To kind of go back a little bit, a few weeks ago, I would say a few months ago, there were tryouts held in different cities for the league, and for each team. And they were able to get the teams together. Now, exactly who's playing in this league, we have not gotten any of those names or information yet. I will say that one of the big stars that obviously is going to be playing in the league is LaMelo. LaMelo was able to go to the Los Angeles Ballers, and they did a media day with him and his teammates. I looked at the jerseys. From what I was able to observe, the jerseys look like Army fatigue based jerseys. And yeah, that's kind of like the main gist of that being set up. The season starts actually this Thursday on the 21st. They'll be playing, like, it's 2 sets. It's like 2 spans of the season. Like, it's going to be wave 1 of games, and then it's going to be another wave of games as far as each team playing against each other. The season is going from June the 21st until August the 12th. And like I said, they're playing in most of the home venues where you see where the teams are listed. So there's Ontario, California, Houston, Texas, Seattle, Washington, Chicago, Illinois. Then they're in Dallas, Texas, since Texas does have 2 teams with Dallas and Houston. In Queens, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Trenton, New Jersey, and Fairfax is going to be one of the venues. Make sure I didn't miss any. Las Vegas. And once you get to August, they'll be playing the All-Star game on August 2nd, which will include a 3-point contest, dunk contest, and then the All-Star game itself. And then the playoffs start on August the 7th. I don't know how to feel about this league yet. Now, I know a lot of times whenever I do things, I'm like, yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to see what's in store. For this, I really don't know. And I'm going to give kind of my cons and some information that I've been able to read up on regarding this league, which may be able to tie into why I have my feelings about this. Now, initially, this could have been Ass of the Week, but it wasn't. But we'll go ahead and talk about it. So LeVar Ball has, as many of us know, for Lonzo, his shoes, I believe, were up there. I think like $700 or $800, if not more. And LiAngelo, I think LiAngelo has shoes coming. LaMelo's shoes were already out. And they're, everything on there. Like if you go to the Big Baller Brand website, you have to be it's not even like being funny. You truly and honestly have to be a big baller to buy half of the crap on there because it's way too expensive. So they're presenting and pushing that. Well, as with basketball, the requirement to play basketball, because you need it to kind of do anything, are basketballs. And the basketballs, I did see one in a couple of videos. It looks like the regular NBA Spalding ball, but they put the Big Baller Brand logo on it, and they added the JBA logo to the balls. So I'm going to go on a limb that this will be similar to the NBA as far as they have balls that are made, for like actual in game to be only used on the field, stuff like that. Fine, whatever. But I'm not paying $200, or no one in their right mind is going to pay $200 for a basketball that 9 times out of 10 may not even be a live. Well, let me not say a live. That may not even be an outdoor based basketball, because most people who buy basketball, they use it to play outdoors. It's very few times that, some people do go to indoor courts, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times you go into, especially now we're in this time of the year where season's breaking. If you buy a $200 basketball, a $200 basketball itself, I would not. It's no need in you getting it from the Big Baller Brand. Again, not knocking what they're doing. He's a businessman. He's trying to do what he got to do to keep his business or his brand in line. I have no problem with that. The next thing I'll get into, which I was able to learn about now, this story broke back in May. Now, if it's still valid now, then it's still valid. But there is a breakdown in how the players who play in this league, how their endorsements work. So I'll give a very generic, a simple example. Let's say I'm playing in the JBA and I play for the Dallas Ballers. Nike comes, or I get an offer from Nike. Nike offers me a deal for, say, $2 million. 60% of that money is going to go to me, and the 40% and remaining 40% goes to the league. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to make sure I understand this and I'm looking at it correctly. There are no agents involved in the JBA that I can see as of right now. Like, a player doesn't have to go to the JBA and have an agent to play. Because when they did their practices or tryouts, they were at it was kind of like a G League version of the NBA Combine. And I know that's like a really bad way to say it, but it was like this guy's kind of going through different drills, different practices to get on this team. And they were able to select who they chose. Each of them signed their contracts. As I'm going over with you all now, there are a lot of things in the contracts which I'm going to see if I can get more information about the contract, because I feel like something is not adding up with these contracts for this league. I don't get it. I'm gonna see if I can get some breakdown because this can help too. And this actually was just presented. So I'll go ahead and drop this story on you all as well because y'all know I'm not going to. No Thoughts Left Behind is the name of the game. I like to make sure that everyone is informed because I'm learning as well, just as much as you are. Let's see. All right. I want to make sure I get this all on the right area because I don't want it to be just thrown together last second. So LeVar Ball goes over the salaries, jersey sale percentages for the JBA players. And this probably will factor into what I just mentioned. It'll go over that a little bit as well. I can't believe we're spending so much time talking about this. The Junior Basketball Association isn't likely to make any players rich other than perhaps LaMelo Ball, its marquee player, but LeVar Ball's league could put a decent chunk of change in the pockets of teenage constituents this summer, through monthly salaries and jersey sales. During a recent appearance alongside Melo and LiAngelo Ball, the big boy in the morning in LA, the Big Baller Brand CEO, revealed that all JBA players will receive $3,000 per month in salary and 60% of proceeds from their jerseys, which are slated to sell for $80 a piece. So that, I guess, ties into what I was mentioning as far as what their sales were or what their endorsements are. Your endorsements are going to be primarily on jersey sales. Jerseys at $80 a piece isn't bad because I think in the NBA they're a little bit more. The only difference is we don't know who any of these guys are. Let's continue as things struggle to come up on my device. You gotta love life. When moments don't let you be great, you just have to accept it for what it is. Give me 1 second, y'all. LeVar confirms paying all current JBA players $3,000 a month. They will also receive 60% from jersey sales. Therefore, if a player sells 1,000 jerseys, that's an easy extra $48,000 in their pocket. Not to mention the other opportunities for endorsements. So far, the JBL has only listed games, including All-Star games and playoffs, that will put each player guaranteed that take at approximately $6,000. In the event that more games are added and the season runs into September, as the case seemed to be from the initial announcement, those players could come away with closer to $9,000, not including whatever they would make from jersey sales and their endorsements. That's not a bad haul for a summer job, though it's not quite as lucrative as the opportunity once seemed. The first reports announcing the JBA suggested players might make up to $10,000 per month, demanding on ranking, but without any nationally ranked prospects on the league's rosters, save for Melo, that pay scale appeared to shrink. There may also be some issues to sort out with endorsement deals if those do come to pass. The JBA standard contract stipulates that the league will get the first right of refusal to represent its players in such negotiations, and a 40% cut from those deals, far above the standard 15% take seen among NBA agents. We'll see how the business of it all unfolds once the JBL opens the season this Thursday. So that's kind of like your A to Z overall rundown of what we're going to see and what we're expecting with this league. Like I said, I'm not going to get too bad on it and give it a hard time yet. And the only reason I'm not doing so is because we really don't know much of what's coming yet. I feel as though they have the best interest at heart, but I also feel as though they're kind of doing it wrong unintentionally. Like I know that's kind of like a strange way of saying it, but it's like I don't think what they're doing is on purpose, or they have like a plan as to, hey, we're trying to sabotage this, because that's not. It doesn't have that build or that feel to it, at least right now. So like I said, we got to let it all kind of come to fruition, play itself out a little bit, and then see what the next steps are. So jumping away from the JBA, there was a very strange, interesting, unique situation that was witnessed involving the Cavaliers. So if any of you recall, game 1 was played against Golden State, and the Warriors won thanks to J.R. Smith's blunder, George Hill's missed free throw, overtime. Cleveland was a no-show. Multiple factors kind of played into it. Well, games 2, 3, and 4, LeBron was playing good basketball, but it wasn't, as expected, the best of playing. And it was factored in or presented in game 4 that there was an issue with LeBron's hand. They wanted to figure out what happened or why did this seem weird. Well, there was video and there's pictures that are showing LeBron's hand as far as the swelling over time, and it definitely does not look anywhere close to as it did in game 1. I won't give an intense amount of breakdown to this, but I'm going to say something because it's important to address. And this is something that in sports we sometimes fail to realize. Playing a sport, you play hurt. Every sport, basketball, football, baseball, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, hockey, tennis, you name it, cricket, lacrosse, bowling, people play hurt. The playing hurt part is never the issue. It's the how bad is that injury going to affect you a couple of games down the line, a couple of months down the line, a couple of years down the line. The first example that I always go back to or always look at is Derrick Rose when he injured himself. Derrick Rose had a very, very tough injury to overcome as far as with his knee. And you can never know or test a player's feelings or intent at 100% because it's a lot of times it's a mental over a physical. I will say this. If you go back and look at games 2, 3, and 4, LeBron didn't do as much shooting. And part of it could have been his hand. A lot of it too was LeBron knew he could score at will going to the basket. So that part he had covered. Tough part was everyone knew because it was Cleveland, they were going to attack and make sure that LeBron was going to have to do everything. Like I said, I'm not going to go into a full A to Z with this story. I'm just going to, like I said, if you go to the article, it shows his hands, it shows the swelling, it shows the transition through each game. So it's not as if LeBron was using it as an excuse. It's just something that you really have to really pay attention to in the difference that it was starting to puff up or swell up. Again, I'm not saying that it justifies him, it justifies Cleveland playing the way they did. Because, of course, when this story came to light, everyone went to Jordan's injuries. They went to Kobe Bryant playing with a bunch of injuries against Boston in their finals. Different players, different styles, whole different teams. Like you look at I don't think anyone's done this comparison, and I'm going to say this because it's kind of relevant, but it's kind of important. If you were to take Kobe, put him with the guys that were on that team that LeBron had, as far like Jordan Clarkson. Matter of fact, we'll do it before the trade. The Isaiah Thomas, I can't even think of the team. Like Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, those guys. It's all about how a player can or can't make someone better. And a lot of times some players just aren't in that role or in that headspace to do so. And it's something that has to be looked at. So as I share all the time, we'll keep our eyes posted or keep ourselves like focused on what's going to happen or how it all will come together for LeBron. The free agency sweepstakes is out of hand, and we'll go into a little bit about that now because LeBron's decision can make an impact on another player's decision, which can make another impact on another player's decision. So LeBron has talked, and his possibility, rumors have circulated of him possibly going to LA. I don't recall if I shared this or talked about this last week, but I'm going to say this now. A story broke or a story leaked of saying that LeBron's oldest son is going to Sierra Canyon. And I think I did talk about this. So Sierra Canyon's in LA or in California. So it's kind of like putting two and two together that he may go there. A big name that you wouldn't have expected to look to leave is wanting to find a new home. And that's Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard, a couple years ago, all-star, superstar, big name, dominant force. They played against, ironically, Golden State last year in the conference finals. Game 1, he was injured. A lot of people think Zaza Pachulia did it on purpose. Whether it was or wasn't the case is neither here nor there. Him getting the proper healing and recovery from that injury, we still don't know. So you fast forward to this year, he's played through it. He missed quite a bit of time, and it turned into the infamous Kawhi camp versus the Spurs camp. And is Kawhi going to stay? And do the Spurs want him there? And it's all about whether Kawhi wants a max contract or if he wants to go to a new team. Well, the story has broke. I don't like stories like these yet because we really don't have like a solid statement, because I personally do not believe Kawhi has said anything yet. And this is important to bring up. So there was a story that I did a video of a guy on YouTube, I can't think of his name, where he went into how stories were kind of circulating about Kawhi's leaving. Kawhi wants to leave San Antonio. Kawhi's not satisfied. Kawhi's not pleased, XYZ. And it's like, is he saying this, or is it just the media trying to get a story to make it seem like he said this? And it was the latter. So the same applies here. And it's interesting now because do I think Kawhi wants to leave San Antonio? I wouldn't be surprised. If you really look at it, San Antonio is not in a place with a winning culture only because it's a much different team from where it was, I'd say, 10 years ago. Tim Duncan was still in his prime. Ginobili was in his prime. What's his name? Tony Parker, Ginobili. Like, you had all these pieces in place. Robert Horry isn't there anymore. Like, you have guys now, like, it's all about the desire and the passion to play. And if it's not there, then it's going to show. LaMarcus, like right now you have LaMarcus Aldridge, who's kind of your prime presence. And I'm going to say this. I think Leonard and Aldridge fit well together as teammates. It's just a question or a factor of having the right point guard or the right leader or facilitator to help them get over the hump. But let's, speculate based on what Deadspin is sharing. Kawhi wants to leave. And one of his targets that he's looking to go to, they said, is LA, which would lead to the Lakers. Now, the Lakers are in a funny situation because keep in mind, a lot of these stories are all rumors. Until free agency hits, we really don't know what exactly is going to happen. Like, no one has a clue yet. So it's kind of coming down to, they're looking at it as LeBron's wants to go to LA. If LeBron goes to LA, LA is looking at it as, we'll give away Lonzo. After his first, he played 1 year and it's already, all right, we done. So that then came to me looking at and wondering about where does that leave LeVar? Because LeVar Ball, as we all know, has already made it very aware that he wants to get things back on track. Like, he wants a good team. Well, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. He wants his sons to all be on the same team. Now, whether that's going to happen in LA or in another city, we got to wait for that bridge to cross. But I just don't know. If you look at it like this, if LA gets LeBron and this is very hypothetical. Because somebody had a video or a picture of this, and I was like, oh gosh, this actually could happen. LA goes for Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and LeBron. It's not an automatic championship, number one. Number two, it's chemistry. Number three, it's personalities. LeBron is very alpha, which we all know. Kawhi Leonard is a silent alpha, and Paul George is a blend-in type of player, but he has to blend in with the right chemistry and the right tune or speed. That was what affected Oklahoma City. Westbrook is a very fast player. Carmelo is a very nonchalant player. Paul George I can give you 25 a night, but I need to have other players around me who are open to giving their best efforts to lead to me getting my 25 a night. So I'm saying all of that, and I'm just giving that hypothetical, and I'm giving those presentations because, like I said earlier, I'm looking at LeBron's injury with his hand. I'm hoping he, has healed up, gotten ice on it, got the swelling down, whatever. And you look at Kawhi with his knee, with his, I think it was his knee, because I always forget. With his injury taking a toll on him and trying to come back to full health, if they all come together, you're looking at a pretty good team. But I mean, we've seen teams on paper look great. The Blazers back when they played LA was great on paper. The Kings on paper against LA looked great. But on paper means nothing if you can't get the championship. And as of right now, Golden State is that team. I'm going to play a very petty devil's advocate before we get into soccer. And this will really make some people think. Steph Curry had a tantrum in one of the games in Cleveland. I can't remember what game number it was. But it was a game where he got thrown out due to technical fouls. You look at that, and you also look at Draymond's ejection with LeBron. Cleveland could have technically not got any championships. Just something to think about. So I'm sharing all of that just to kind of get everybody aware and make y'all know what's going on in the loop with the basketball world, the professional basketball, and the lower Z tier G League known as JBA. Because JBA, the requirement, I'm not sure if I mentioned this, the requirement for playing, you have to be between the range of 17 through 19, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll keep an eye on that. And once the free agency talks really happen, and it's kind of made evident as to who's doing what, then we'll go along with seeing what our next steps are on who's playing where and who's doing what. The World Cup is finally here. And I don't know about y'all. First of all, U.S. is not in it. It's ironic because I think I may or may not have shared this. I'm wearing my USA scarf. My roommate will never let me live down one of my scarf attempts of me trying to wear a scarf that took an hour to put on my head, but whatever. Since USA is not in it and I'm not going to break any money to buy a scarf that I'm not going to wear or use, I'll just wear my USA scarf and I'll probably wear a different, since we're in World Cup stage, I'm probably going to just be wearing scarves during the World Cup matches. So each week I'll have a different one, and I'll probably bring it on or talk about it or whatever. But last we're currently on day 2, and all I can say is that we have a lot. Well, I'm sorry. Forgive me. We're on day 3 because day 1 was Thursday. Russia who is the hosting country for the World Cup, played Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia did not come to play. Russia legit won pretty heavily. They won 5-0. And what made this game even more relevant is the mere fact that at the end of the game, they were already ahead 4-0. And they kind of were just working on they were saying, hey, this isn't a time to really show off any new plays or anything different. Just kind of, kick the ball and just call it a day. Well, what ended up happening was the player who took the goal, who took the free kick, actually ended up scoring a goal that matched Golovin. I'm going to also say this because we're going to get this out of the way now. There are going to be a lot of players who have scored or will score matches. Good luck with me pronouncing names. These names are far from American and far from simple, but I'm not knocking it. Pushing to yesterday's games, we had Egypt and Uruguay go against each other. Suarez had opportunities for days to score, and he could not get it together to save his soul. They ended up getting a late goal by Jimenez in the 89th minute, and that was able to give them the 1-0 lead against Egypt. Iran won their first match, or they won their match against Morocco, which was that game looked like it was a struggle for a while. What made it even worse, I think the Iran game was a potential ass of the week, only because the player who scored the goal was a player from Morocco. So it ended up becoming an own goal. And that was in extra time as well. A lot of games kind of came down to like the last couple of plays. So that'll be a trend that you'll start to pick up on. The final game on Friday put two of the favorites, the 2010 World Cup champions, Spain, played against Portugal. And Cristiano Ronaldo had a field day. Ronaldo came to play and came to slay. Plain and simple. Like there's no fabricated way of putting it as to what he was trying to do. Diego Costa with Spain, he brought it as always. Nothing to be surprised by. But Ronaldo was able to keep Portugal in the game, and they ended up getting a draw. So they both gained a point from that series. So as of right now, just to kind of give you a heads up, Group A, and I actually have a spreadsheet. So if any of you are looking to keep track of these and you want to do this on your own time, yeah, you can go to FIFA.com. That's great, but they have an actual spreadsheet that you can keep track of scores and kind of just put everything in, and it'll do everything like generate the standings and stuff like that. So right now, Russia is actually ahead in Group A. Uruguay is second. They both have 3. They're both tied with 3 points, but the factor of the difference is going to be how many the goal differential in your match. And Egypt and Saudi Arabia round out Group A. And currently Group B is completed, and Iran is in first. They ended up getting 3 points. Portugal and Spain both scored a point thanks to them getting 3 goals apiece. And Morocco is in last. And finally, in Group C, France beat Australia, so France is ahead right now. Denmark, Peru, and Denmark are playing now, so they're playing, and I believe there is one more game today between Croatia and Nigeria. So they're playing later on. We'll likely get through all 8 groups on Tuesday. Tuesday will have all 8 groups completed, and then it'll rotate back to Group A based on how I'm looking at the matches coming together. So that's what I have so far for the World Cup. 7 matches this weekend. Like I said, 2 of them have already been played today. Match 3 is getting ready to come on now. Match 4 will be on later. And then tomorrow there will be 3 more matches. So we'll be definitely doing a lot of soccer coverage to fill that sports void in a sense. You're right. The building is. I don't know what that was. Thank you for that noise. Well, I just lost my hearing and my train of thought. No, so that's what we have for World Cup. So you will be getting weekly updates on who's doing what. I may not be I may whisk through scores a little quicker than normal. So if it happens, it happens. Just let it be what it is. But we have one final sports story for right now. And that is in regards to the Triple Crown. And a lot of people really don't track horse racing like that. But it's a big sport and there's a lot of money in it. And those who were able to keep up or that are aware, there was a Triple Crown winner named Justify. Justify was able to get the Triple Crown, which means he won the Kentucky Derby, Preakness, and Belmont. Justify won the Belmont starting from the rail. The last Triple Crown from that spot at the Belmont was Secretariat, which was 45 years ago. And Secretariat actually had a movie based on that horse. The raw talent is there. He just came on there and broke every curse there was. He is the second horse to capture the Triple Crown undefeated, joining Seattle Slew, which was back in 1977. The last time we had a Triple Crown winner was Pharaoh, which was back in 2015. The trainer or the horse rider was Baffert. Make sure I get this name right, because not Baffert, Baffert. Where's his name? I can't find him. He gone. Bob, the trainer's name is Bob Baffert. Took me long enough. But yeah, that's what we have for the Triple Crown or for the Belmont Stakes. They did mention that there were other people who attended the race that were betting. They were part of it. So just our norm of information with that. All right. So we're at a point where I'm going to give you all a little bit of I won't say a break, because it's not really a break, because this is going to be rapid minutia, because I'm kind of going to be preparing some stuff, because I am not going to lie. When I tell you that tech, let alone stuff, was chaotic, stuff was chaotic. So this past week, and I believe all of the events are completed now, there was an event that occurred that many of you may have heard of. I did realize it, and I'm glad that people don't know about this. So that's good, and I'll get to kind of talk about it a little bit. Many of you probably have never heard of this event before, and that's great. That'll be your chance to learn about it today. The name of the event is called E3, which stands for Electronic Entertainment Expo. Basically, the simplest way to explain it is each year they get the top companies in the video game community or in gaming as a whole. That would be Electronic Arts. And I'm surprised some of them will do keynotes or events, like they'll have presentations, and some are just there. Capcom was likely there. 2K Sports was there. Activision was there to present Call of Duty. Bethesda, Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft for PlayStation, Sony obviously Microsoft for Xbox, Sony for PlayStation. Nintendo was there to give what's ahead for the Switch. And then your big companies such as Ubisoft, who's known for Just Dance, they all were there. So I have different articles, and I'm going to go through them. I'm going to say, before I do this, I want to say something because I feel like it needs to be said, and this is important for my tech lovers and my gadget gurus. Well, my gaming crew. as gamers, we like what we like. Everyone knows that. Some people will talk. I've had people who I worked with at one time who despise console gaming. They think it's the worst thing in the world. You have some who are on the exact opposite side where they look at PC gaming as stupid. But it's all preference. If we all played the same games, we all wouldn't have different opinions. That being said, a lot of what was observed or processed with the different events will come to play in some of the articles and stories that were shared from E3. Now, I want to keep this in mind because I don't think I have one. Because Kotaku clutch with these stories that I'm about to share. But I don't think I saw one for PC. But yeah, so each company, like I said, they did their keynote. Some keynotes were short. Some keynotes really didn't give you a lot of information, but they did their best in trying to go over what we can expect from them. So EA was first up. EA did theirs on Saturday. This is not in the article, but this was something that was shared. EA was planning to do a 100-hour stream of different games by Electronic Arts. So it wasn't just going to be Madden, FIFA, NBA Live, MLB, whatever. It was any game that EA has made was going to be presented like an hour in 1 hour shifts. So to kind of give you an overview of what we saw, what presented or what came to light from EA, Battlefield 5 was given its attention. They're going to be introducing a battle royale mode. That makes more sense as to why the mockery of the battle royale for other games was coming, because most, thanks to Fortnite, more companies are starting to kind of get into the epic royale or the battle royale scene. Let's see. Star Wars did present a game, which was Jedi Fallen Order. Battlefront 2 did get Clone Wars. Let's see. Unravel 2, if any of you remember the original Unravel, it's a yarn-based game that's going to be coming out. Sea of Solitude was presented. Command and Conquer is coming back as a rival game called Command and Conquer Rivals. BioWare's Anthem is coming next year. And that's kind of everything. They did give a trailer for FIFA 19, which is expected to come out September 28th. They did give a trailer for Madden Overdrive. Madden is coming to PC, which is big. And that's kind of your overall shot for Madden for EA this year. Swinging to Microsoft now. I will tell you in advance, these aren't going to be in order, so I may kind of be all over the place, but just rock with it. Microsoft gave its presentation. Halo is coming again. Halo Infinite will be coming out. Ori was displayed. Ori and the Will of the Wisps was out. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice made its appearance. It's by the makers of Dark Souls. Fallout 76 gave a little teaser. Of course, we're going to go to Bethesda for the full rundown and story of that. Awesome Adventures of Captain Spirit was brought to attention, which was in the Life is Strange universe. Crackdown 3 was given some attention. Metro Exodus is coming soon. Kingdom Hearts 3 is looking to blend in the Frozen world. Not gonna say much further than that because I want to get put out. But they've slated that's going to be coming out January of next year. Forza Horizon 4 is coming. They'll be taking it to Britain. That's actually looking to drop October 2nd. Microsoft did get some indie. They were able to open a new studio, and they have a lot of indie companies coming in to kind of make things a little bit smoother. They gave you a little bit of a dab or a tease of Division 2 in talking about it. And Shadow of Tomb Raider was given some attention. So I won't say what a lot of people said, but if you're a Tomb Raider fan, you know what to expect with Tomb Raider, so you'll be looking forward to that. A skating game is being presented. Haven't had one in a while since Tony Hawk. That's called Session. Devil May Cry 5 is coming in spring of next year. Cuphead getting an extension. That will be great. A lot of people did love Cuphead as a whole. They are doing a crossover fighting game called Jump Force. Dying Light 2 got a little bit of attention and some love. Battletoads is coming next year. Just Cause 4 is on the way at the end of the year. And Gears of War 5 is coming, which is going to have 2 little small games based into it. They're doing a Funko Pop mobile game. And then Gears Tactics is being worked on for that as well. And they are getting preparation for their console. And they gave a video for Cyberpunk 2077, which is going to be in the works. So, I mean, that's everything for Microsoft. Like I said, it's not that I don't want to give time or give any attention to these stories, but it's like, it was so much that if you sit down and try to write every single thing or acknowledge every single piece of story that came, you'd really have to like just not have a life. And luckily I have a life. So some of this, I'm just kind of whisking by as best as possible. Sony's up next. Like I said, these aren't in order. Sony's showing gave us Last of Us Part 2, which I think will be big because a lot of people do like Last of Us 2. A open world samurai game called Ghost of Tsushima looks pretty awesome. Control is coming, which is going to be a third person game. It's made by the folks of Max Payne, Alan Wake. Resident Evil 2 Remastered. Anyone who's a Resident Evil fan already knows what to expect with that. Kingdom Hearts 3. They gave more of a view of Kingdom Hearts 3 as well as Pirates of the Caribbean World. Death Stranding was presented. Nioh 2. If you played Nioh 1 or the first Nioh, you'll like Nioh 2. Spider-Man was given some love. And they're doing, From Software is making a VR game for a PlayStation VR game. That's everything for Sony. These aren't as bad as I thought. Ubisoft was next up, or is next on our list. We got a little bit of dancing, had a panda or band intro for Just Dance 2019. Beyond Good and Evil 2 was given some light, some excitement. Trials is coming back with Trials Rising. The Division 2 is getting raids, and they're also getting free DLC. They did do gameplay after the Ubisoft presentation for Division 2 because everyone wanted to see what are we going to see, what's coming. So they did do some play of that. They did a musical performance for Mario and Rabbids Donkey Kong DLC. Skull and Bones is coming out, and we were able to get a game called Transference, which is VR. Star Fox is coming with Starlink. They did give they were able to give Nintendo developer Shigeru Miyamoto a ship from the game, and he was very excited and very pleased by that. For Honor dropped or is coming, and most of all, a big game that everyone always is going to be on board with is Assassin's Creed Odyssey. So that's everything for Ubisoft. Bethesda, I think was the big talk this week. And I'll go into the games and explain why. They started off with Rage 2, which a lot of people may remember Rage. Rage was kind of like a purge type game where you're trying to, take over the world, stuff like that. Doom went smart, and someone brought this up, and I'm going to say this as well. Doom went with a very cordial approach in not calling it Doom 2. They called it Doom Eternal, which I'm never going to knock that. Prey was able to get some updates. Prey Moon Crash was dropped at the time of the their keynote. Wolfenstein was able to introduce BJ and Anya's twin daughters. Big game, big story. Need to play it because I never played any of them before. Fallout 76 came out or was introduced. It's an online game and it's coming in November. Elder Scrolls Blades is coming for mobile devices. Starfield, which is a sci-fi game, is coming. Elder Scrolls 6 is coming. They gave a teaser for that. And that's everything for Bethesda. We're in the home stretch. Like I said, I feel bad because I should have one for PC and I don't know why I don't. Maybe I think PC had a more chill presentation. I can't think of the name of it. There were a couple of other developers who were there. Devolver showed out as usual. If you didn't remember Devolver's presentation last year, before looking at the keynote for this year, look at Devolver last year for E3, and then look at Devolver this year, and you'll thank me later. Nintendo did their presentation. Nintendo was kind of the dark horse that no one really knew what to expect. This is where I'm going to go into my point of what I said earlier. A lot of people didn't look at Nintendo as doing anything major. But if you're a Smash fan, or if you're a Mario Party fan, or if you're a Nintendo owner, you got something from this event or from this keynote. So Super Mario Party is going to be allowing people to use their Switch. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is getting some updates. Fire Emblem is coming to Switch. It's called Fire Emblem Three Houses. Big story. I'm gonna give this a little bit of attention because this was a potential ass of the week too. Fortnite is on Switch. It made it to Switch and it actually dropped the day they did the keynote. What was ironic about it is anyone who was trying to sign up to play Fortnite, if they already had a PlayStation account, they couldn't play, which is kind of jacked up. I don't understand how that all worked. Maybe this is going back to that infamous cross-platform crap again, but it's just in another magnitude. So luckily I have Xbox, so I'm good. If I were to own a Switch, I would be able to play on both systems. So props, yay. Hollow Knight made it to Switch. Big story. They were able to give some attention and viewing of Smash Bros. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because I almost was ready to call it Super Smash Bros. Because that's everyone's different. I call it Smash Bros. But they have the full roster. Everyone is in their feelings because one character did not make the roster, and that is Waluigi. But I don't think people should get too riled up because they said that the game is going to have 66 characters. They only showed 65, if I remember correctly. So the 66 character could possibly be him. I'm not sure. But they have the characters from all Smash games. That includes the Ice Climbers, if anyone's wanting to know. And no, you cannot do their overpowered, overrated, annoying play that pisses people off. Ridley was introduced to the scene. Splatoon 2 is getting an expansion, which dropped this week. And they had some Octoling amiibo that are coming out later this year. So that's kind of like what to expect and what we have in store from E3. E3 was like a whisk of information coming to you left and right. And if you really weren't paying attention, it would have caught you and you wouldn't even have known it. So that's kind of like my assessment of what E3, I'm giving you articles of everything that happened. I was able to watch it. Most of the keynotes were pretty good. I mean, I wasn't looking for anything to be flawless or excellent because everything at E3 is meant to tease you to wait until the game either is out or is close to being out. Because then once it actually drops, then you can give all the attention and rave to it. Like, for instance, right now, and no one's thought about this. Last week, we talked about NBA 2K. Great. NBA 2K is coming. LeBron's on the cover. NBA did smart because they learned from last year, especially with this being his free agent year, that they put Kyrie on the cover in a Cleveland jersey and ended up having to get a remade version done for him being in a Boston jersey. Cleveland is going, Boston, like LeBron is in the Cleveland jersey and the whole setup in the store, in the stands or in the stores in GameStop. But if he gets traded, what happens? Do you just throw another jersey on top of it? Or are they going to send out new cutouts? Like, I know this has nothing to do with E3, but it ties into the E3 analogy of, I'm going to give you information, but I don't want to throw too much information at you too soon because I want to wait to see how everything comes together. So that's everything that we have right now for E3 and what's coming. I'm going to say something, and don't take this the wrong way from me, because anyone who knows me knows I try to be as honest as I can with music and with being a music snob. This was not the best week for Music Sesh. Normally I'm like, oh yeah, let me check out some new music, see what's going on. A lot of stuff I tried to play really didn't get anything new. J-Rock has a new album called Redemption. Started to listen to it, need to listen to it a little bit more to give like a full assessment. Jacquees has 4275. Started to listen to that. Really got to get back to you on it. Had no music. Everything else I was listening to was stuff that I already have played or things that I've already been a fan of or just liked by nature. We got a little bit of a teaser of Nicki Minaj's album. Rico Nasty, if any of y'all may or may not have heard me mention his name, she did a song, like it's a Hey Arnold song, I think, with Lil Yachty. Well, she has an album out, so I kind of gave that a little bit of a spin. And Black Box had their Superbass album out, so I caught some of that. But otherwise, it's really not been like any ooh and ah music that I've been on this week. But then last night happened. And it wasn't, obviously it didn't come out on Friday it came out after Friday. And that was Nas's EP. I share with people because I'm always like the bad guy for this. Music is music. I get it. I'm not going to take anything away from an artist performing what they perform. But some artists are just confirming how easy it is to be lazy when it comes to making music. I don't think it's that they're being lazy. They're just, Kanye's camp or Kanye's group is, we doing 4 tracks. we doing 7 tracks and that's it. And you just kind of accept it for what it is and either you rock with it or you don't. So I've listened to it and Nas's album EP is actually pretty good. It has like a vintage listen to it. Now, before we get all bananas, please don't make this greatest album of all time, number one. And number two, and most importantly, do not compare this. I repeat, do not compare this to Jay-Z's album. Because you actually have like enough tracks to make an album on Jay-Z's album. I was confused because when it dropped, I was like, wait, why are they saying that the album's coming out? Because online, it was some sites that said it was coming out in July. Some people had already had it. They did like a listening party for it. Pusha T was there. He was talking about his album. He was confirming that the beef between him and Drake was over. Really should have never started, but that's another story. But it just was like 7 tracks. I still can't call it an album. I'm still calling it an EP. But the EP or the 7 tracks that I did listen to were pretty good. So if you have not listened to Nas's new album, it's called Nasir. Give it a spin. You'll thank me later. Like I know I always say that, but that's my music sesh for this week. And now my favorite part of the show. Because for whatever reason, even when you think people can't do nothing stupid, they still do stupid shit. So this week's asses of the week. And this is a huge group, so this is going to work out perfectly for our ass of the week this week. First up, is Robbie Williams, who going to give kind of a brief story, and then I'll go into what. Well, basically he gave the middle finger during the show, and I guess didn't think anybody was going to notice it for the first day of the World Cup. So kind of like the Olympics, when they start off an event, they usually have like a performance go on, things of that nature. But Robbie Williams was given that option to do so, and he utilized it to the best of his ability. The first day of the 2018 World Cup went off almost without a hitch for the host, Russia, with a barnstorming victory after a brief but polished opening ceremony, which even a rude gesture by Robbie Williams could not derail. The biggest worldwide event held in Vladimir Putin's Russia began with a contest between the two worst teams in the competition on paper. But Russia, who were without a victory in 7 games, exceeded expectations as they dismantled a hopeless Saudi Arabia defense to win 5-0. Given the enormous budget of this World Cup, the opening ceremony was a relatively low-key affair, with the British pop star Williams a surprise headline act. He almost finished performing his hit rock DJ when he raised his middle finger to a TV camera, provoking widespread outrage and no little confusion. It was obvious what the 44-year-old meant by the gesture, but he is known to be a campaigner for LGBT rights and was heavily criticized for accepting the invitation to perform in a country known for its outdated stance on gay people. Putin was in the stadium but had not yet taken his seat. Just 15 minutes before kickoff, the Russian president was driven in a convoy of cars blocked. Whatever. Okay. All right. So him giving the finger is understandable now. But his timing of doing it was not the best timing, and that's why he's getting asked of the week this week. It was for his expression and his feelings, and I get that. But now don't like give your thoughts and tweet yourself away, but you don't have to like everything's about timing. And I mean, I'm not knocking him. Like I get where he's coming from, I get what he's doing. So if it works for you, do what you do and keep it moving. The other ass of the week is a solid ass of the week. I'm not even gonna like let off the accelerator on this one. So there's a term that is used called dine and dash, where people go out to eat, and in the process of eating, there's a displeasure or a distaste or issue, and instead of paying the tab, they just get up and leave. And I have gone to a facility who serves food and alcohol and things of that nature, and have seen signs, and I'm not sure if the sign is still at this location, but there was a sign that would have, if these people come in, they're not to get any food or any drinks until they pay their tab. And I believe it would show their name and I think the amount, but it's very intriguing that people don't pay a bill when they go out to eat. Now, in this case, I mean, they ran the bill up to $420. And this happened in Tennessee. So, the restaurant didn't think about it. 16 people showed up 30 minutes before closing time on Sunday. That was already a red flag. So this could kind of almost be a double ass of the week for the food company, and an ass of the week for the people who were eating, because they knew when they came in late that they already had a plan of like not staying the whole time. The group ordered some of the most expensive items on the menu from Frida's, which came to a total of $420. Not only that, but WREG reported that the group was being confrontational with the staff and berated them during the meal. They just started getting louder and louder, getting upset and yelling offenses to the server. Jesse Gonzalez, the restaurant manager, told WREG. The group then left the table one at a time and didn't pay the bill. Gonzalez said he believed the entire outburst was planned so they could avoid paying. He even planned on pressing charges, but after the grandparent of one of the customers paid the bill in full, Gonzalez changed his mind. Gonzalez said the group went a step further and apologized to the staff. Didn't know that he apologized, but even still, all right. Dissecting this, breaking this down as simple as possible. I know people go out to eat. I know things happen, and I know people sometimes have agendas and plans. But there's agendas and plans, and there's just downright like ignorance and disrespect. If y'all won't plan on paying to begin with, just don't go there to eat. Go somewhere, like go to a cheap place and get like cheap food. Like they make little places like 7-Elevens and small inexpensive venues for a reason, so that you don't have this occurrence or issue of sitting here and going somewhere and putting like this retarded tab on food that one you're probably not even going to eat. And I think what makes it worse is it wasn't even about the food being ordered. People in the back prepared it. So it's like we gotta put some accountability on some people, on some folks, and like make sure this was just a fail across the board. In hindsight, I'm glad that the grandparent was able to pay the tab, but $420 worth of food. I mean, I've gone out to eat. I've gone out to drink. I've drank nearly $100, but that was because I was reckless. But the reason I'm making that point is I've never, even when being out with people, never gotten a tab up to that amount. Now, then too, it's also the factor of if there are other people that we're all together and we're eating or drinking, we're all paying for our stuff. So we're not to the point where we're going to sit here and like cause an issue or a conflict to not pay our tab. Like that's just not, it's not how it works. So, Robbie Williams gets asked of the week for his gesture. His reason for the gesture, I can kind of go with now. Like, but the initial story when it all broke, I didn't know. But he gets asked of the week in that regard. And I don't know if I put the ass of the week more so on the grandparent or if I put it on the the restaurant. I'm losing my brain. But anyways, that is this week's show. I am glad that you all have stuck with me through everything. I know I think this week's show took up the most time because I really wanted to give you all a dissect breakdown of it was a JBA, because I wanted to make sure in case you hear about it or happen to know some guys who are hearing about it, what it kind of entails, and our E3 coverage, our condensed E3 coverage. I'm going to see if I can find some videos. It may not be on this show, but just kind of may do some back talking if it's any other games that, because as time progresses, we'll start to see games kind of come to full fruition. So as always, thank you all for tuning in. As I share each week and I make sure I get this to you all, intros and outros are thanks to Grimecraft. Podcasts are uploaded to Spreaker.com/Brite Podcast. Thought I could change my name, realized that I can't. I guess it hasn't been long enough. I don't know, whatever. And this beautiful voice that you hear is thanks to the Blue Yeti microphone. And I am glad to do what I do. We're a few weeks away from Podcast Every Day in August. Still getting topics together for that. If you have any ideas on topics to share, passpodcastbt@gmail.com. I will thank you wholesomely. May even give a shout out if you're up for that. So that's all we got. Thank you all again for tuning in. And until next time, the Pass signing out. Thanks for tuning in. If you'd like to get any information specifically based on the shows, you can go to Spreaker.com/Brite Podcast or go to www.passpodcast.com. On both of those options, you do have the information related to what topics were talked about, the timestamps for the episode, as well as the specific links related to that specific story. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, the Pass signing out.